Hello. Do you know anyone that suffers from bipolar disorder? I do. Let's talk about it. Welcome to Results May Vary, the show where results, may vary. I'm your host, Sebastian, and today we'll be talking about bipolar disorder. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Oh look, there's that guy with the mood swings who's always cranky and complaining about the world. He's always sad over nothing. He's such a great guy at parties if he wasn't such a downer. God. If you've heard this before, you're probably making fun of someone with bipolar disorder. I've been living with bipolar disorder since I was 14 years old. I've been living with it for over 30 years. It's a very debilitating disease that affects millions of people around the world. Yes, bipolar disorder is an illness. Throughout my research and throughout my explorations on social media, Facebook, Instagram, whatnot, there's always a very common trope that comes up. And I'll use the example of panic attacks, for example. You wouldn't tell someone that's having a panic attack to just calm down, that nothing's going on, right? No. You also don't tell someone who's suffering from mental illness to just suck it up and get over it. It's an illness. Illness is an illness. And bipolar disorder is most definitely an illness. Sadly, this is how most of the world views mental illness. If you can't see it, it doesn't exist. In other words, fix or it never happened. There's still so much that we need to learn about those hidden nooks and crannies of the human mind. Hopefully, this is something that I hope we can address as we go along the journey. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, bipolar disorder, also known as manic depressive illness, is a brain disorder that causes unusual shifts in mood, energy, activity levels, and the ability to carry out day-to-day tasks. There are 4 basic types of bipolar disorder. All of them involve clear changes in mood, energy, and activity levels. These moods range from periods of extremely up, elated, and energized activity levels, known as manic episodes, to very sad, down, or hopeless periods, known as depressive episodes. Less severe manic episodes are known as hypomanic episodes. Now here's a very important detail to keep in mind when we start looking at the different types of bipolar disorder and how they're categorized. That way, you can more or less gauge and learn to identify the corresponding symptoms, the length of time, and the severity of the episodes. It's very nuanced lingo and terminology, I know, but I'll try to smooth it out as much as possible. So, without further ado, here we go. Bipolar disorder 1, otherwise known as bipolar type 1. Defined by manic episodes that last at least 7 days, or by manic symptoms that are so severe that the person needs immediate hospital care. Usually, depressive episodes occur as well, typically lasting at least 2 weeks. Episodes of depression with mixed features, having depression and manic symptoms at the same time, are also possible. Next up, we have bipolar 2 disorder, otherwise known as bipolar type 2. Bipolar type 2 is defined by a pattern of depressive episodes and hypomanic episodes, but not the full-blown manic episodes that bipolar 1 patients usually suffer from. Now, what's the big differentiation between bipolar 1 and bipolar 2? Well, bipolar 1 is usually associated with a high-octane, full-blown, full-speed ahead kind of energy where usually they just end up crashing afterwards. So that's why the manic episodes usually last less than the depressive episodes. Now, bipolar 2 is more of a steady, kind of like a down, kind of depressive kind of state with the occasional energy burst. So therefore, don't be surprised if someone that suffers from bipolar type 2 will normally be feeling down on their luck, and then you say something that would trigger some sort of response, and automatically, bam, there goes the overreaction. Trust me, I know a lot about this. Plenty of my friends know about this, and that's usually why they identify bipolar disorder with mood swings. It's a very, very delicate subject, and it's very hard to talk about because it affects so many people in so many ways. And so that is part of the stigma that the mentally ill have to live with, those after effects, those consequences of our manic episodes and our depressive episodes. Now, during my research, I actually found that there's a third type of bipolar disorder called cyclothymic disorder, otherwise known as cyclothymia. For crying out loud, I hope I actually pronounced that correctly. If anyone cares to correct me, please comment down below. Cyclothymia is defined by numerous episodes of hypomanic symptoms, as well as numerous periods of depressive symptoms lasting for at least 2 years. However, the symptoms do not meet the diagnostic requirements for a hypomanic episode and a depressive episode. So imagine, if you will, a person that is in a constant state of emotional flux for 2 years. Now, finally, we have the fourth type of bipolar disorder, which technically isn't bipolar disorder. It's known as other specified and unspecified bipolar and related disorders, defined by bipolar disorder symptoms that do not match the 3 categories: bipolar 1, bipolar 2, and cyclothymic disorder. Now, imagine, if you will, you're taking an exam and you have the usual 4 types of answers. Answer A, answer B, answer C, or answer D. Usually in exams, D stands for no, don't be that dirty-minded individual. Shame on you. Usually answer D stands for none of the above. So therefore, if none of the symptoms can be categorized and checked under type 1, type 2, or cyclothymic disorder, then they'll usually be lumped into that last 4th category. It's a very important detail to keep in mind. It's very important when you go to a mental health professional to be extremely self-aware and honest about what you're feeling. Be as specific as possible. Leave no detail unsaid. What you're feeling, mentally, emotionally, even physically. The information that you give your doctor is essential in order to come up with a proper treatment plan. Unfortunately, there are many people out there who hold details back because they either feel ashamed or they're afraid of being judged by a doctor. Well, let me tell you, the doctors are not there to judge you. They're there to help. If you withhold information, it could drastically affect how the doctor chooses to tackle the situation. And it could lead to either a misdiagnosis or, even worse, misprescribing medication that is used to treat certain types of symptoms. Now, that is a very dangerous thing, because there are certain disorders that require very specific medications. And if you are not honest with your doctor and they prescribe medication that is not proper medication to treat that symptom, it could possibly even aggravate it and make it worse. So please be honest about your symptoms. Please be honest with yourself, and most of all, be honest with your healthcare professional. Trust me, I know. It took me years to finally come to terms and accept my illness. I was afraid of what people might think, what they would say, what they would do. But there comes a time where you finally have to take your stand, and that is the most important step of them all. You have to accept your illness. It took me years to come to terms with the fact that I was sick. And it also took me a long time to forgive myself for having hurt so many people indirectly or directly because of the illness. It took a lot of introspection for me to get to this point, and it's not an easy road to follow. It's a very hard road, but it is walkable. You can actually do it. There is no shame in actually admitting that you're sick. In fact, it makes you the bravest person of them all. I can't stress that enough. You can do this. I've been doing it. It's an everyday struggle. I know how hard it can be. But as long as you're aware, and you're mindful, you're honest, and most of all, you hold yourself accountable. And you don't beat yourself up over the mistakes that you make, because it's not your fault that you're sick. What you can be held at fault for is not taking care of yourself and seeking proper treatment. It's very important when you're seeking treatment that you also keep in mind the people that you love, and keep in mind that people do love you. They care about you. I cannot stress the importance of keeping a beautiful support system. I was very lucky because I have a beautiful support system that's seen me through good times and bad times. Those are the people that matter. Nobody else. Nobody else can tell you what you can feel. Nobody else can tell you what to do. You have to hold yourself accountable for that. Now, the most important part of all is that every day you keep yourself mindful. There's that word again, mindful, aware. Always carry along with you a little toolbox of introspection. As long as you're honest with yourself, just be aware that there are going to be good days and there are going to be bad days. That's okay. The whole point is you work on it day by day, one step at a time. I've been living with bipolar disorder for over 30 years. I know how difficult it can be, but I'm standing right here fighting a good fight, and I'm going to keep on doing it. So that's how I know that it can be done. There's plenty of other people out there that are fighting the same fight. You got this. We all got this. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. If you want to share your story, if you have any comments whatsoever, please feel free to comment down below. Also, feel free to follow me on Instagram. I shared the link in the description down below for a daily dose of motivational and personal quotes. Also, if you want to share your story with me, you can go ahead and email me at takelifeasprescribed@gmail.com. I will be providing the link in the video description down below as well. Once again, thank you for watching, and remember, always take life as prescribed. With a grain of salt, plenty of wisdom. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.